Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. We are so glad you're joining us today because, honestly, we've got a really fascinating puzzle to untangle.
Yeah, a massive one. It's about the South African Springboks.
Exactly. We are looking at the looming, super complex question of who is actually going to succeed Siya Kolisi as captain. And before we really jump in, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description.
Definitely do that. You're not going to want to miss all the stuff we've got coming up.
Right. So our mission today is to figure out why replacing a cultural icon like Kolisi is so insanely hard, what the job actually demands off the pitch, and the geographic hurdles facing the frontrunner.
And we're drawing a lot of this from a really great recent Planet Rugby article. They unpack some very candid predictions from, Steven Kitshoff.
Which is awesome because he's a two-time World Cup winning prop. He's been inside that locker room.
Exactly. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
But before we throw out names of who's next, we kind of have to establish just how massive this role is. Like, Kolisi's legacy isn't just big, it has its own gravity.
It really does.
I mean, let's look at the context for you guys listening. We're looking at the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. The Boks are going to try for a three-peat, 3 World Cups in a row.
Which is just, the physical toll of that is staggering. Statistically, attempting a three-peat in modern test rugby is almost impossible.
Right, and right at the center of it is Kolisi. He'll be 36 years old during that tournament.
Assuming he makes it, yeah.
Exactly, because everyone assumes this is going to be his final year. But he almost walked away way earlier. He seriously considered retiring after France in 2023.
Yeah, but he changed his mind, and because he stuck around, he actually became the first back rower ever to hit 100 caps for the Boks.
Which is wild.
It really is. For anyone listening who might not know, a cap just means a test match appearance. But for a back rower, a guy whose whole job is throwing his body into the most abusive, high-impact tackles, the breakdowns, yeah.
Right. Doing that 100 times is absurd. It's basically superhuman durability.
And the captaincy numbers are even crazier. Rassie Erasmus made him captain back in 2018. So entering 2026, he's got 71 caps just wearing the armband.
He's actually chasing John Smith's all-time record, right?
Yeah. Smith has 83, so Kolisi's right there.
When you look at that timeline, like from 2018 to potentially 2027, he hasn't just been a captain. He's defined an entire era of South African rugby.
Totally. And this is where it makes me think of a corporate analogy. Think about a massive company trying to replace a founder CEO.
Oh, like Apple with Steve Jobs.
Yes, exactly. You aren't just replacing a manager who reads balance sheets. You're looking for someone to step into this deeply mythologized role. It's emotional.
It's a perfect analogy, honestly. Because in normal sports, it's just modular. You lose a fast winger, you plug in a new fast winger from the academy.
Right, you just check the stats.
Yeah, the machine keeps running. But international leadership just completely defies that logic. And Kitshoff really highlighted this in his podcast interview.
He was on the For the Love of Rugby South Africa show, right?
Yeah, he was. And he completely divorced the idea of captaincy from just, like, playing rugby.
That part was so eye-opening to me. He basically said making tactical calls on a Saturday is only a tiny fraction of the job.
Overwhelmingly, it's about the off-field stuff, the intense media scrutiny. Kitshoff literally said, "You're becoming the face of the Springboks."
The face. That's a heavy burden for anyone.
It's massive. You're the national lightning rod. If the tactics fail, or there's a humiliating loss, the captain sits at the press conference and absorbs that strike.
They protect the squad from the fallout.
Exactly. The squad has plenty of tactical leaders, but they need someone willing to walk into that media storm every single week.
Which creates a huge filter, because finding someone who is viciously dominant on the pitch, but also a polished PR diplomat off it.
It's a rare combo.
Super rare. And that leads us to this really fascinating, maybe slightly alarming reality. The Springboks don't really have an obvious heir right now.
No, they really don't.
Like there's a vacuum, which sounds crazy if you're a casual fan because we've seen so many guys fill in as captain recently.
Yeah, sure. The list of stand-ins during the Kolisi era is basically a who's who of global superstars.
Yeah, you got Eben Etzebeth, Peter Steph du Toit, Jesse Creel, Salman Morit,
Gwaine Vermeulen, Schalk Brits.
Andre Pollard, Bonji Mbonambi. It looks like an embarrassment of riches.
It looks amazing on Wikipedia for sure, but when you look at future planning, like building toward the 2031 cycle.
Ah, yeah, demographics.
Exactly. Physical attrition. Vermeulen and Brits are gone.
Yeah.
Etzebeth and du Toit I mean, they are titans, but they'll age out by the time we need a multi-year leader for the next cycle.
They're great lieutenants, but not the next decade's anchor.
Right. And before we move on to who could be the anchor, I think this is a great time to remind you guys to please subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description. It really helps us out.
Yes, please do. So, okay, what about the younger guys on that stand-in list? Like, Salman Morad is a lot younger. Why isn't he just the guaranteed next guy?
Well, the Planet Rugby source actually points out an issue there. They noted that Morad has sort of flattered to deceive so far.
Flattered to deceive. That basically means he shows these brilliant flashes of potential.
Right. He makes you think he's the answer, but he hasn't delivered the undeniable consistency you need to lock down a starting jersey.
And you can't be the face of the team if you're stuck on the bench.
Exactly. Your spot in the starting 15 can't be up for debate.
Makes total sense. Kitshoff also brought up Jesse Creel, who he praised a lot as a great stand-in.
He did, but even then, he admitted there's no standout successor. He talked about how, back in the Stormers' days, everyone just inherently knew Kolisi was the guy.
He just had that aura.
Yeah, that undeniable aura, and right now, that's just missing from the younger ranks.
Which brings up this wild psychological dynamic. Like, we usually think being surrounded by greatness breeds greatness, you know?
You'd assume so, yeah.
But think about it like a workplace. If the executive team above you is entrenched and successful for a decade, how much space do you actually have to learn how to make executive decisions?
Very little. It creates a generational bottleneck.
Right. So when a sports team has a golden generation that wins back-to-back World Cups, does that actually stunt the younger guys' leadership growth?
It absolutely can. It's a known paradox. I mean, sure, the 24-year-old rookie gets to watch Kolisi prepare, which is great.
But observation isn't leadership.
Exactly. Leadership is forged through consequence. When the game is on the line, the young guy just defers to the veteran.
Because the veteran is always making the final call.
Right. And when the media wants answers, the veteran steps up. The young guys are shielded from the consequences, which protects their confidence early on.
But it delays their evolution. They never learn to hold the lightning rod.
Spot on. And that perfectly lines up with what Trevor Nyakane said in the article.
Oh, I loved his quote. He just laughed off the whole succession anxiety.
Yeah, he said if you asked him in 2010 who was going to captain them to the 2019 World Cup, he wouldn't have had a clue.
Which is such a good point. A vacuum creates panic, sure, but it also creates opportunity. Someone is going to step up and wear the armband.
They have to.
Yeah.
And despite how murky it all is, Kitshoff actually did throw a name on the table.
He did. He gave a very specific prediction, and it introduces a whole new, like, modern conflict into this deep dive. Let's talk about the frontrunner.
Yeah, this is where sports and global economics just completely collide.
So Kitshoff's pick is Ruan Nortje. He's a 27-year-old second rower from the Bulls.
And his trajectory is really interesting. He debuted in 2022. But didn't fully cement his spot until 2024.
Right. There was an injury crisis, which created that exact kind of void we were just talking about.
And he stepped up. He made 5 massive appearances, proved he belonged, and followed it up with 12 more caps in 2025.
He completely seized the moment. Plus, he's already sharing the captaincy at the Bulls with guys like Marcel Coetzee and Elray Lau.
Yeah, Kitshoff was very clear. He thinks Nortje handles the pressure at the Bulls brilliantly, and if they had to pick a captain tomorrow, Nortje is his guy.
But there's a massive but here.
A huge one.
Nortje's career is about to smash right into the coaching staff's philosophy, because at the end of this season, he's leaving Pretoria. He signed a huge contract to play in Japan.
And that move might literally disqualify him from the Springbok captaincy.
Which is wild. Like, there's no ban on foreign-based players playing for the Bulls, right? They select guys from overseas all the time.
They do. But for the captaincy specifically, Rassie Erasmus has a very rigid preference for a locally based player.
Why is that one role treated so differently?
It comes down to painful recent history. The Planet Rugby piece mentions the logistical and cultural friction they had when Kolisi went to play for Racing 92 in France.
Oh, right.
Erasmus talked about how incredibly hard it is to run a cohesive program when your leader lives in a totally different country.
It's like, okay, imagine you manage a super fast-paced office in New York, and your culture manager lives remotely in Tokyo.
It just doesn't work.
Right. Even if they're the best employee, they aren't in the break room, they don't feel the daily mood of the staff or the pressure from the local community.
That translates perfectly to rugby. The logistics are a nightmare. Japan is, what, 7 hours ahead of South Africa?
Yeah, so when the South African media is screaming for a morning press conference, Nortje is in the middle of afternoon training in Japan.
He's completely disconnected from the local news cycle. And beyond time zones, there's the cultural alignment.
Right. His Japanese club expects him to adopt their style, their culture, their schedule.
Exactly. How can you be the ultimate barometer for South African hope when your daily life is entirely removed from South Africa?
You can't. Erasmus wants a captain who feels the pressure of the local soil, someone who walks down the street in Cape Town and feels the fans' expectations.
And someone who could just pop into an impromptu strategy session without worrying about international flights.
But the irony is just tragic, because the moment a South African player becomes a world-class leader, their market value explodes.
And the Japanese and European leagues swoop in with generational wealth.
Exactly. So Nortje spends years developing into the perfect leader, but the reward for reaching that level is a contract that pulls him out of the country and disqualifies him from being captain.
It's an impossible tension. The Springboks want a world-class captain, but world-class captains command global salaries.
And Erasmus wants a local captain. Those two things are on a permanent collision course.
And Nortje is right at the point of impact.
It's such a fascinating dilemma. So let's just quickly pull all these threads together for everyone listening.
Basically, we're looking at a team navigating a super complex transition.
Exactly. First, the clock is ticking on KOLISI'S historic era. His massive legacy accidentally created a missing generation of obvious successors.
That generational bottleneck we talked about. The young guys have been shielded for too long.
Right. And second, we have this brutal logistical reality. Kitshoff says Nortje is the guy, but Nortje's move to Japan highlights the clash between club economics and national duty.
It's a brilliant case study in succession planning, even if you don't care about rugby.
Absolutely. It shows how the pool of qualified leaders in any field gets narrowed down by external stuff like geography and media demands that have nothing to do with actual talent.
The requirements of the job exceed the actual work. It's crazy.
It really is, and we would absolutely love to hear what you guys think about all this. Who do you think should step into the void when Kolisi retires?
Yeah, do you agree with Kitshoff about Nortje? Or is Erasmus right to demand a local captain?
Please drop your comments and opinions. We love reading your perspectives. And hey, one last reminder, make sure to subscribe to the Rugby Obsession YouTube channel and newsletter from the link in description.
Yes, please do. It's a debate with no easy answers, but those are always the best ones.
Definitely. And just to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over, we've talked so much about the crushing weight of being the single face of the team, right?
The PR machine, the media strikes, all of it.
Exactly. If the off-field demands are really this overwhelming, are we heading toward an era where teams just split the captaincy?
Oh, interesting.
Like, imagine a purely tactical on-field captain and a completely separate cultural captain just to handle the media and the emotional weight. Could fracturing the role be the only way to survive it?
Wow. That really challenges the romantic view of the singular hero, doesn't it? But it might be the logical next step.
It really might be. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.